All right, good morning, everybody. I get to read to you this morning the pair of texts. I know you're very excited for that. So am I. I'm here sitting in beautiful Granger. I got the Aspen Grove here to my south. Looking west, there's our vineyard. We got some non-prickly blackberries there. Over there, you can't hardly see them, but here they are. They are Lilia and Xavier. They're playing with shovels, which scares me a little bit because, you know, you accidentally swing the shovel the wrong way. Next thing you know, you knocked out your brother. But here we go. Let's focus in here. My arm's gonna get a little bit tired, but I'm gonna try to do this. Okay. Taming the Fear Monster. Fear is a natural human emotion, but what happens when it takes over your life? For years, Kyle Hargreaves, 13, had a secret fear. It wasn't a fear of snakes or spiders. It wasn't a fear of heights or water. Kyle was afraid of costumed characters, like the ones you see hugging little kids at theme parks, and the mascots, not mascots, you see goofing around at sporting events. Such characters caused Kyle to experience true terror. His heart would pound, sweat would pour down his face, he would have trouble breathing. What's wrong with me, Kyle wondered. Kyle tried to lose his control. Nope, that's not what it says. It says, Kyle tried to control his fear, but he couldn't. As time went by, oh no, I closed it down. Kilgren. Let's get back in here. This is harder than it looks. Multitasking. All right. Oh my lorsh. All right. All right, we're gonna try this again. I had tried to start reading and made a mistake. That's okay. That's normal. We make mistakes when we read. Everybody does it. No one's perfectly fluent at reading. All right, here we go. What's wrong with me, Kyle wondered. Kyle tried to control his fear, but he couldn't. As time went by, the problem only seemed to get worse. Then one day, at a hockey game near his hometown of Reading, Pennsylvania, the sight of mascots caused Kyle such distress that his dad thought Kyle was having a stroke. What is a phobia? Kyle was suffering from a phobia, an extreme, irrational, and lasting fear of something. Specifically, he was suffering from masklophobia, a fear of people in masks and costumes. When people with phobias encounter, or in some cases just think about, the thing that they fear, they react severely. They may panic, vomit, or feel like they are going to pass out. Millions of Americans suffer from phobias. Scientists aren't sure what exactly causes them, but they do know they are related to fear. Survival tool. We all experience fear from time to time. It's the feeling when our hearts pound at the top of a roller coaster, or when we jump out of our seats during a scary movie. Fear is also what keeps us from wandering into traffic or getting too close to a campfire. That's because fear is a survival tool. Its point is to help us stay alive. Been joined by Zebu. Say hi.
Hi.
And Lilia Edith is running away. That's okay. We got the lawnmower going here in the background. Hopefully the sound doesn't get too muffled. So how does it work? Biologically, fear is the result of a reaction that takes place mainly in two parts of our brains, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. When we detect something that could be a threat, the amygdala, which processes emotion and causes us to react swiftly. It causes us to react swiftly. We become instantly alert, perhaps breaking into a sweat or jerking away. Then the cortex, which processes our thoughts, helps us decide what to do next. Let's say, for example, you're hiking through the woods and you see something that looks like a poisonous snake. Your amygdala tells your body to jump back, then the cortex comes along and helps you decide that either yes, that is a snake, and I'm going to move away from it now, or no, that is just a branch. I can relax and resume my hike. This complex biological reaction is all part of something known as fight or flight, which prepares our body to respond quickly to danger. When our flight or fight response is activated, whether by a real threat or not, our hearts race, increasing blood flow to our muscles so we can run fast or fight hard. Meanwhile, our brains pump hormones into our bodies that make us alert and focused so we can cope with the situation at hand. Phobia versus fear. But having a phobia is different than simply being afraid of something. With the phobia, the fight or flight response is triggered. What are you yelling at, Zay? Oh, Lily's over there. That's okay. Alright. It's triggered by something that isn't as threatening as the person feels it. And the feeling of terror... Alright, we're just going to restart this paragraph. Alright, phobia versus fear. But having a phobia is different from simply being afraid of something. With phobia, the fight or flight response is triggered by something that isn't as threatening as the person feels it is. And the feelings of terror don't go away. People with phobias often understand that their fears are irrational, that they feel helpless to stop them. Given the intensity of the terror, it's understandable that people with phobias sometimes go to extreme lengths to avoid the thing they fear. Someone with claustrophobia, fear of small, enclosed spaces, might walk up 30 flights of stairs rather than step into an elevator. For example, for Kyle, his phobia led him to avoid sports games, amusement parks, theme restaurants, and any other place where he might encounter a costume character. But avoidance makes phobias worse. God, I can't talk today. Avoidance makes phobias worse, says Amit Etkin, a professor of psychiatry at Stanford University. If you don't interact with the thing that scares you, your brain will never accept that it's not harmful, and the fear can become even more exaggerated. That's why people with phobias are encouraged to work with a mental health professional, such as a psychologist or a counselor, to face their fears in a safe and healthy way. Getting help. And that is what Kyle decided to do. Not long after the hockey game, his dad took him to the Child Study Center at Virginia Tech. There, Kyle was treated with a technique called exposure response and prevention, in which patients with phobias are gradually exposed to what frightens them. For example, a patient with arachnophobia slowly moves closer to a spider. Over time, when nothing bad happens, the feeling of fear around spiders lessens. Unless it bites you. Then what? Oh man. See, I got a little bit of arachnophobia myself. I'm scared of these spiders, but so is everyone else in my house, and so guess who gets to kill the spiders? Me. It has not lessened my fear of spiders. That's because I have gotten a few spider bites sometimes. Nothing too bad though. I know black widows or brown recluses or anything like that. But still, I don't know if I could still get that close to a spider and not lash out and smash it. I'm off topic, I'm sorry. Zay, stop jumping, dude. Alright. Zay. Kyle's treatment began when he was greeted by a man carrying a bunny costume. Kyle started to panic, but didn't run away. He knew he needed to face his fear. Once Kyle felt calm, the man put on the body of the costume, but not the head. Kyle again became anxious, but eventually he relaxed. Then the two played basketball. After a while, the man put on the head and other costume characters joined the game. This must have been expensive therapy. They had to pay all these people to get into the costumes. Man. Kyle was anxious every step of the way. By the end of the day, though, his fear had dissipated. That evening, he and his dad went to an annual event in Virginia Tech called Gobbler Fest, where they interacted with many mascots. Kyle felt no trepidation at all. At one point, he even high-fived one of the mascots. To prevent his phobia from returning, Kyle had to interact with costume characters several times a week for a month. Wow. To celebrate Kyle's new fear-free relationship with costume characters, his family decided to take a trip. Where'd they go? Disney World. And that's the end of the first story. We'll read the second one here in a moment. Away from the lawnmower.